Kerry has been involved in undergraduate nursing education for the past 21 years. She is the recipient of numerous teaching awards, and in 2012 she gained a prestigious national award for excellence in university teaching. And only last week she won the Simulation Australia Achievement Award. This is for simulation in all disciplines, not just in nursing, so a tremendous achievement. Most recently, Kerry has become known nationally and internationally for her pioneering work in creating an innovative simulation strategy. So I'd like to welcome Kerry to the stage. There will be chances to ask questions afterwards. Has anybody seen Kerry? Do we know where Kerry is? Hello, can I help you?
Yes, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. Why drop me hat now? Could you just give me a hand?
Just a minute.
Yes.
My name's Sally, and I'm a nurse. Can I help
Well,
you?
I'll be bummed. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Is it?
Yes. Will you put me hat on now? I want me hat on.
Of course
I
I
want it
will.
on me head. It's bloody cold down here. I can tell you, huh?
So what's your name,
Hey.
please? What's your name?
Stanley Shelby.
Stanley Selby.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Stanley.
Yes, is this where all the teachers are?
Well, there are a few teachers here,
Yes,
yes.
well, that's who I want to talk to.
You want, well, there's about 80 people here, Stanley.
Well, I'll be
Yeah. Look
fucking
around.
look at them all over. Yes, I want to get over here. You're a nurse, did you say?
I am a nurse, yes.
Yes, come
yeah.
over here. I want you to come with me, darling. Yes.
So where would you like to go?
I want to stand up there so
What
they
is-
can all see what I'm talking about.
Okay, so there's a big step here, Stanley. Is it all right if I call you Stanley?
Yes, you can call me Mr. Selby, then I'll give you permission to call me Stanley.
Okay, Mr. Selby.
You can call me Stanley. Yes, all right, I need a hand up here.
Okay, now there's a big step
I
here.
can't hear you when you're talking down at me bum, love. I want you to get around here and explain what was it.
There's a big step
You
here.
don't have to shout, I'm not doing it.
There's a
Right.
step here, Stanley, so if you be careful.
Yes, I know there's a step here, that's why I tell you won't mind your step, I said. And my slippers, white.
Yes.
I don't think they're my slippers. I don't know where I got them from, but they're not fitting me, right?
They're
I
blue. Now
oh,
be careful.
bugger, there's
That's
a lot
it.
I can't hear you, darling, when you get around there.
On
No, around here, so I can see you. There.
Is that okay?
Hello, darling. Yes, hello, darling. Ready? 1, 2.
Oh, goodness me. Okay.
Yes.
Right, you okay?
Oh, bugger. Look here. Are these all teachers?
Yes, I think they're all teachers here.
They're nurses?
There's some nurses as
Which
well.
are the nurses?
Who are the nurses, please? So Stanley can see the nurses. Put your hands up. Okay.
I just want to say that I'm here for a very particular reason. Just for the fellas in the audience, I've got problems with me prostate, and I've been at the local hospital there last night, because my prostate's on the bugger again, it gets blocked, and then I can't pee proper like. But I knew this thing was on today, so I had to come, so I got me careful, huh?
Okay,
I
right.
think there's something wrong down here.
Is there? What's
You
the
have a
problem?
little look.
In front of all these people?
Well, now just tell them to close their eyes if they don't want to look what I'm about to show.
Would you like to turn around?
No, I just think it's all good. Let's have a look.
I haven't got
Can
any
you have a
gloves.
look here? This is all good. Be
Oh,
careful, there's
all
all
right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Have you got gloves on, darling?
No, I haven't.
Well, you're supposed to wear the gloves.
No, and I haven't got any
Are
of these.
you a nurse, did you say? Where's your uniform and your name tag and stuff?
Yeah, I haven't got them on.
Listen, darling, you've got the wings on proper like, and you know what they do, don't you?
I know.
They carry the germs.
They do.
And then they get, and then they work all this bingle, dingle, dangle stuff. I don't like you doing that. You're supposed to wear the uniform, you don't delete. Yes, you know what, about my name's Stanley, and part of my job is that I go to this university
Yeah. Yeah.
And I teach them this.
Okay.
Yes, you might wonder how, but part of it is because my grandson is doing this.
Okay.
I've read all of these books, and I can teach the students everything they know. And I've been in and out of the hospital more times than you had baked dinners. You're a pub, aren't you?
I am a
Yeah, well, you would have had a few baked dinners. And no, not that you're fat or anything like that. You're all right, old girl. Are you a nurse today? You've been around for a while then. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to tell you that I've read me grandson's book. I teach him everything I know. I'm a patient advocate.
That's very good.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
that's
the
important.
students learn from me.
Yeah,
And see, what happened was I've been to the hospital and...
Would you like to sit down?
No, I want to tell you a little story. Chicago was very special to me. My wife and I came here for our honeymoon, and I miss her well. In November of last year, she went to the hospital, and she fell out of the bed. She got a break in the leg, because they forgot to do the assessment, I don't know when she went in, and they didn't have the brakes on the bed or the buzzer and all that stuff, and she fell and she died at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I miss her Christmas pudding. She would put the Whippinses in the Christmas pudding, and the grandkids would come and she'd swap the Whippinses for real money. She was so, I miss her well. So anyway, from that very bad experience, I was able to say, I've got a message to tell. So I went to the hospital to the university where Kerry was teaching. And she said, stay and wait. She said, Stanley, you've got to say it down quiet. Because sometimes I get a bit excited and the saliva gets caught up in the side of my mouth. So you've got to duck. Anyway, I then started teaching with Kerry at the university. I go to the university and I meet the students on their very first day. And I knocked off me bulbs now of a Thursday and I go to the university instead. I park myself in the bed and the students come and do all sorts of things for me. And you know what, I want to show you something marvelous. And I've even got a belly here. I won't show you me bits down there. Where am I? No? Yep. Yes, they can inject me in my tummy here.
Yeah.
I don't mind. They practice on me.
I hope they don't hurt you.
And they have to sometimes put the capital in because of me prostate stuff.
Yeah.
And they call me Harry Highgate sometimes. Anyway, it's just marvelous how I'm a part of their journey. Sometimes I'm not real good with me tablets, so they teach me that, and then I do the teaching about the medication safety. Yeah,
Your hearing aids.
did you wash your hands? How long have you washed your hands for normal?
Oh, every time I wash my hands.
Yeah, look, you've got to do it every time. The 5 moments of hand washing, they say. And how long do you wash your hands for?
Oh, as long as it takes to sing happy birthday.
Yeah, about 30 seconds,
Yeah.
I reckon. And don't forget it's the friction that matters because that gets rid of the, what does he call it again? The normal, the transient flaw.
Okay.
The ones that jump off easy and they spit out the patient and give them germs to make them sick, eh?
That's right,
Yeah, I don't
sorry
think
about
that's good. I just want you to take me pulse.
Oh, take your pulse.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to sit down?
No, I want you to take me pulse. What are you feeling for first?
What am I feeling for? Well, I'm going to feel for how many times it bumps in a minute.
Yes, but if it's nice and regular, you only need to do it for 30 seconds and multiply by 2.
I can tell you the expert patient.
Yes, and all right, so what are you feeling for?
And I'm going to feel how strong it is. Yeah. I can feel it.
Regularity.
Regularity, that it's actually beating the same rate.
Yeah, the strength.
Your strength,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah.
the rhythm.
The rhythm, the depth,
And the weight.
the rate.
Get that. Right rhythm, regularity, and strength.
Right.
Yes, you won't forget that, will you?
Right.
Right, pulse isn't like, what are you going to do?
So if your pulse isn't right,
No,
depends...
not me pulse, me pulse.
Your pulse?
Yeah, me pulse.
Your pulse?
Yeah, that's it. What are you going to do?
Well, I'll probably sit you down and I'll find out what's wrong with it. So find out what the rate is, look at what your tablets are.
Yeah, if you was a student, what would you do?
If I was a student,
yeah.
I'd go and get my registered
Good,
nurse.
yes, and then you document it, and what colour pen would you use?
Oh, a black pen.
Good, you know everything. Listen, I've got a couple of bobbies for you, a couple of dollars. I'd like you to have it and go and buy yourself some sweets.
Stanley, that's very kind, but I'm sorry I can't take your money.
Oh.
Because it's my job and I like looking after you and I really can't take your money.
I'll only give you a little bit.
No, you keep your pennies.
I like you very, very much.
That's very kind, but I can't take any presents from you.
Will you look after me again, darling?
I will if I'm on duty, yes I will.
Oh, can I come home to your house? Well, I miss me wife very, very much. And, yeah, oh, well, thank you. You know what? I like being here and I like meeting you especially.
It's been a pleasure to meet you too, Stanley.
Just take the geezer down here again, will you? Have a little look and see if
Just
it's
check
all
everything's, yeah. You have got
the
some...
bugger with the thing, the cabinet gets picked and then I can't pay it on it.
But I need to go wash my hands, don't I?
Yes, and I want these tablets for me hard and they make me pee.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, they have a digestive cardiac failure. Me heart fails is a pump, so they give me these pisses to make me piss.
That's right.
And then that takes the fluid out of me heart. Be buggered if I know how, but the help here does. So I'm on the fluid chart.
You are? Okay,
Yes,
so...
and you've got to measure what goes in and what goes out.
Okay.
And I'll tell you another thing. I know what me Bristol stool should be. I'm aiming for a size 4. That's sausage. But that's otherwise I get constipated and see the colour of me pee's not real good.
Not good, no.
So it means I haven't been drinking enough and then I get constipated in me back end and I'll be aiming for a size 1 and it's just hard luck. Well, I want a size 4 which is sausage, like and soft. You remember that when you're looking at your bowl today, darling, I want you to look down and say, is that a size 4 on the Bristol stool? You've got to look it up.
I will. I'll go and have a look now. Yeah. And I'll need to wash my hands.
You don't forget. I like you.
You all right there?
Yes, I got to get down there. Because if I happen to get down there, I don't know what my message is, but my message is listen to the patient's story.
Absolutely. And yeah,
And I want you're a teacher too?
I am a teacher,
Well,
yes.
dare to be different. You don't have to do things the way they always tell you to.
I'm a nurse first and
You
foremost.
want to dance with me, darling?
We could do,
Yes.
Okay, take a step down.
I can't hear when you're talking down at your balmy bum, right?
Take a step down.
Don't shout at me, darling, slowly, squarely, openly, lean forward and look at me. You got it?
Sit, open, lean
No,
forward.
don't like this one, you don't do that.
You need to take a step down. It's about 20 centimetres.
Oh, beautiful, you know that. Oh, they're very tall, too. Oh.
Thank you very, very much for the opportunity to come to New Zealand and talk about what I love to do. and that's learning and teaching. Before I start to talk about my presentation, I'd just like to share a little bit of a journey with you. As a student growing up in Tasmania, I sat behind a desk often and could never concentrate on what the teacher was saying. I often scribbled, drew, and my concentration was always out the window. To one day I do remember the teacher coming up and just tapping me on the head to say, "I don't think anything is in there." Believing for many, many years that I was a student of special needs. But in fact, I wasn't. I was actually a gifted student. Take me out of that space of a classroom where I'm stuck behind a desk, put me into another environment, and I would excel. I was a student that never believed that I would get through high school. I was a student that I never believed would get through matric or college. When I went to nursing, I was trained in a system where it was rote learning. So for me, often sitting up till 6 in the morning and then attending classes at 9 o'clock was not unusual because I had to try and get it into my head. I then took a different journey and went to work in the remote areas of the Torres Strait. There I would start to engage with children and other people, Indigenous folk, and started to realise that the way I can explain things and do things is a bit different. And there is actually value in what I do. And my challenges as a child have actually been my biggest gift. Someone then said to me, "Why don't you go to university?" University? I can't go to university. You've got to be really clever to go to university. To go to university and to come out with the highest GPA and the university medal was something beyond my wildest dreams. To then move to a master's and a PhD was something that I always thought was only for the clever people. So my message as a child that you are someone with nothing in there stuck with me for a whole lifetime. As said, it has now become my greatest gift, and it is my gift to be able to go into a classroom or go into a learning environment and dare to think differently in the way that I teach students. So what I'd like to do today is to talk to you a little bit about, where's my little wiki there? About learning and teaching and the way that I do things. So I have to get away from the podium. So, who was Stanley Selby? Oh, by the way, I will show you my bits. Please, no cameras on this bit. So if you could just turn the cameras off for this bit, please. If anybody doesn't want to look, so please turn around because it is quite confronting. This is simulation to the maximum. So you can see that students can catheterise me, they can inject me. This is about realism. This is about the human experience and teaching students in the safety net of a classroom. You should see me, girls. So who is Stanley? Stanley has a message, and he has a message for learners. I ask you now, were you initially suspended in disbelief? Yes. Were you engaged? Yes. Could you ignore the human element? No. Was there something there that touched you? Did you hear his story? Did you hear his vulnerability? The vulnerability is part of the human connection. And this is where we, these as characters, connect with our students. Did you feel it? Could you relate to him? Even if you're not a nurse, was there something that did happen in that experience? So normally what I would do in this situation in front of the learners is I unpeel. And I say to the students, how did you feel? How did you feel?
Embarrassed at times, yes. But it was so real, Kerry. And I knew it was you under there, but I still, gosh, you were so real.
Well, I think you were beautiful. And the strategies, the amazing part of this technique is that as soon as I'm in this, I'm the character. And if the character is confronted with somebody who is less than the ideal nurse, it's amazing the human response in the communication that I impart. I just wanted to go home with you and have dinner. For the best reasons intended. So normally we would say, what else could we have done in that situation? What would you then take out to the realistic clinical environment? This is experiential learning. So, do you think you could feel it? Could you relate to it? And would you remember any of that? So if we were unpacking that scenario, and I want to hear from people who are not nurses too, what are some of the things that you might have picked up from that you could be brainstorming with students? Give me a few ideas. Communication. Yes, in terms of solar was the key message. Even though I'm deaf, don't shout at me, look at me, don't talk to my mum, I can't hear when you're down there.
Don't think that I don't know things, that I'm an idiot.
Thank you very much. So it is about hearing the person's story. Understanding that they are, and for nursing we talk about patient-centred care. We talk about collaborative relationships. The patient doesn't belong to the hospital and it doesn't belong to that bed, and they're not Mr. X with COPD. They are the person with a story. And that's really important if I was going down the lines of patient safety. If only we can impregnate this into our nurses and to our students by listening to the patient's story, you find out so much more, and their ability to put their hand up and say things aren't right for me. What else?
I know a lot about the procedures because I have them all the time. You know, so I know how it's done.
Yeah?
As the patient.
So listen to me, and so what these characters do is guide students and direct students. Anything else?
You're making the experience as real as possible.
Yes, so it's that realism and that humanism that's there. One more?
But don't treat them as a kid, they are actually us who then grow older.
Yes, so that the older person is not childlike, and how often do we hear lovey-dovey, beautiful, may I call you Stanley?
Yes, you can call me Mr. Selby first, and then you can call me Stanley.
The other things are about, in terms of respect and regard. So that exactly what you're pointing out. The other one that I would have brought up is the ethical issues around gifts. And in nursing, that's a big thing that I would have unpacked further. And of course, infection control. The 5 moments of hand hygiene. He would then go on and say, tell me about the pulse. What do you remember? RRRS, right? Rhythm, regularity and strength. And you've got to report it if something is not right. In terms of 5 moments of hand hygiene, when are we going to do that? So you can see from a 7-minute scenario, I've captured them, I've grabbed them, they walk away, right down to the point where students remember stuff from this that they don't remember of me standing up in a lecture. For example, Cyril, one of my other characters, whom you will meet very shortly, has a stoma, a colostomy. These are first-year nursing students who have no idea of what stomas are. They say to Cyril, what's a healthy stoma look like? So he pulls down his stoma. He shows them, he says, now get a geezer at this. He says, open your gob, and they're all standing around with their gobs open. He says, get your tongue and swish it around your mouth. He says, what's it like in there? And they said, it's moist and it's soft. I said, yes, now all of you open your mouth and look at one another. So they're all, I says, it's pink in there, isn't it? Right, pink and soft and moist like the inside of your mouth. Their exams have just been finished. What did I see on their exams? A healthy stoma should be pink and moist like the inside of your mouth. That's what I said to them. I talk about the 5 senses. And as I go back to my gift as a student who could not sit behind a desk and concentrate for much more than 15 minutes, and you know nothing's really changed, so I've got to entertain myself to learn. But I listened to one of our speakers this morning who talked about don't assume that the way we learn best is the way that others are going to do. So you have to think outside the box. You have to look at different strategies. And when you have to look at different strategies, sometimes it's about taking a risk. As a professor in a university, when I say to my peers, you're that one, yeah, they say to me, you're that one that puts that stuff on your face. Yeah. You should see what else I do with a dress-up box and puppets, because you're going to see too. How can that be filled with academic rigour? Well, it is, and it's about learning and teaching. So I talk about, can I hear it? Can I say it? Can I do it? Can I feel it? And can I touch it? And all of these characters allow students to look at every aspect of those learning attributes. I question, how do you best learn? And how do you best teach? And do you get that peer review to say, I love that way, but have you ever considered doing it differently? I jump outside the square. I think outside the box. I dare to be different, and I actually start with a box. Get out of town. How do you do that? I have a dress-up box. St. Vinny's is my best place. That's a second hand, or what do you call it here? I don't know. St. Vinny's de Paul, Red Cross, they have the best dress-ups ever. So I have the biggest dress-up box. The first-year students at university come into my classroom, whether they are distant students or internal students. We have distant students that come to residential school. First-time university. Some of them are the challenge students that don't always have the best entrance level to get into university. They come, they try to be really serious, and I come out with a dress-up box. I say, I did this at kindergarten, and I am not doing it in my university degree. I say, well, yes, you are. And part of that is about safe role-playing. So we use different props, and I have the 3 Ds. Do not play yourself, don a prop, and D-roll after the experience. So when we are using experiential learning, and I've just been to your labs, where I've looked at, one of the comments that you made was that you like to see the students in the bed. That's great, but sometimes we've got to make sure that those students, when they're playing the patient role, are never themselves, otherwise we hear all their stories, and then we have a whole debriefing afterwards. This is about simulation. So the students here, a simple strategy. They've never learned about colostomies, except when Cyril starts to tell them afterwards, but before they even get there, they come into the class and they say, what's this, Kerry? I got 3 jugs of poop. 1 sloppy, 1 middle, 1 quite firm. They say, what's that? I said, you're an A-sender if you're behind that jug, you're a transverse if you're behind that jug, and you're a D-sender if you're behind that jug. And they go, huh? I said, and here's your pouch to go with it. Put it on here, here, or here. Turn around, yes, now fill it up. And the challenge is 48 hours, you'll come back to class and you're going to tell me what that's like. I say, huh? I said, off you go, see you in labs next week. They come back, they have looked up colostomies, they have Googled it, they come and get on their Moodle sites. Oh my God, I've had this onto my skin for more than 12 hours, it's irritating. I couldn't wear a tracksuit, I had to wear a tracksuit, I haven't wear a tracksuit for years. Mine fell off at the soccer game this afternoon, mine fell off at the supermarket, mine's been the topic of conversation at the barbecue. What are they doing? They're trying to they're getting a grip of a topic that is going to be very meaningful to them when I get there. Ethically, people say to me, how do you get away with that? I say, I just do. Wait till you see. When I put incontinence pads on the students and they have to go up to the refractory at lunchtime and amongst their peers, they say, oh my God, here comes Kerry's students with the incontinence pads. I'm only going to put that on for a period of 2 hours. I don't make them do it. It is a lovely lady called Mary, and Laura you're going to meet shortly too, and she's a retired matron. She makes them do whatever they feel. Simulation is about realism. It's about fidelity. It is about believability. It is about authenticity. And what we as teachers, it doesn't matter what discipline you are in, you can dare to think outside the box to give students realistic experiential learning that is meaningful to them. Often I hear the death by PowerPoint, and here I am doing PowerPoint. I hear about the assignments where they have to download this and write 2,000 words on this particular topic. How meaningful is it? What can we do differently? For me, it is about creating realness so that you then get a response, the reaction is there, and they reflect on that episode way after the event. So what is this masked egg KRS simulation? I like the KRS. It's actually knowledgeable, realistic and spontaneous simulation. What is Mask Ed? Mask Ed is simply a simulation technique where the expert, whether it be the nurse, whether it be the medic, the doctor, whether it be the physio, whether it be the social worker, whether it be the psychologist, whatever discipline they are in. My sister is a teacher. She's an old retired teacher that comes in and reads to the children with her props on. The character, the props go over the expert. The expert turns into a character. The character then has a platform, a history that allows them to be the platform for learning and teaching. There is a level of authenticity in their character that allows them to impart the knowledge. Why is it that I have to tell you, as Stanley Selby, that my grandson has done nursing? Because I've read all his books. So that when I talk with some level of authenticity and rigour, if you like, you're believing it. So here is the history. I was doing wounds with students in a classroom. They had task trainers and it was pressure injuries. They're all totally engrossed in this skill. Working out which way to put the force and which way to do that, whether I wipe this way, whether I do this way. Totally focused on the skill. Nobody was attached to the bottom except a pillow and a bed. I sent them out to a break. I had the dress up. I got on my fat suit, which I had in a dress up box, don't need it anymore. I had my grandmother's old church hat with the netting, God bless her. I had an old pair of Halloween teeth that I stuck inside my mouth, and the only way I could keep them in was to do this. I had a black handbag. Inside the black handbag was a packet of heartworm tablets. I thought, come in, spinner. With that pressure ulcer buttocks, I thought, there's a triple-size quadruple D, whatever, EFGHIZ bra, that was big, and I put the pressure ulcer inside my bra. They came back from break. I said, no, I'm unsure. I'm unsure. I need the pressure ulcer dress. How did you get that? Oh, I just keep pressurising here. I had to make it up as I went. And then I told them that I had these heartworm tablets because they treated me heart and worms at the same time. However, the problem was I was portraying ageism in a negative way. The results from that term of teaching were quite astounding. That gave me my very first teaching award, which then gave me the finance to go beyond. I then started to work with our Hollywood creators, our guys that have done Mrs. Doubtfire, Big Mama, and we now have a fabulous relationship. He first, I ran him and said, I need some of your masks. That was fine, we tried those. I said, I need a penis. He said, oh, we don't do penises. I says, well, I need you to create me one. He said, where are you from? This continued to the point where we have many, many props now. So here and so then we developed our characters. So here are some of our props. So this is our lovely lady, that's Mary Moore, and her breasts hang right down, and we've now got her pants that can get up here as well. So the students can actually take off my clothes and can put me in a toilet chair. They can put me in the shower. They can lift up my breast. This is in the safety net of the classroom. Here she is, she's a lovely soul. Here is a closer look at the genitalia. So what I've actually built in here, which I reckon is pretty cool, I've got a bladder inside here. So with the bladder, when it fills, I can actually pee, and with my hidden syringe hidden behind my back, or they can put a catheter in and they get a urine return. It's not just a task trainer that students are shoving something into, it is a real person who feels, who's embarrassed. One of my torsos gentlemen came with the penis upside down. He said, do you want me to take it back? I said, no, I'm going to get plenty of mileage out of that. goes over the penis, and for students going into aged care placements for the very first time, they will have to do these skills. What we were finding was some students were so intimidated by the thought of having to do things to patients that elements of care weren't being done. So what I come into the classroom, I said, I've got to have this on, can you put one of these things on? So 2 at a time they'd come up, and just as in the real situation, they had the pubic hair all caught up around their gloves, and then one of them ripped off their gloves and said, I'm not going to use gloves. I said, well, some nurses do and some don't. They said, no, I'm not going to use it. I said, I think you should. She said, no, Cyril, it's okay, I know what I'm doing. All right then. I thought, okay, I've gotten a syringe filled with Now she's fiddling around, I just let a little bit out. I said to her in the debrief, so tell me about, are you going to put gloves on? I don't think so. It is also about the erection side of things that are uncomfortable for students, things that are not written in a textbook. And they can talk about that. I said, what are you going to do with it? And one of the students said, we could hit it with a teaspoon, Cyril. I said, don't go anywhere near it with a teaspoon. Someone else wanted to shave me. No, wait, it took me 82 years to grow these pubic hairs. So I'm going to shave them off now. And so it's all of this stuff that is uncomfortable for students that we are starting to deal with from first year. Here's our stoma, and you can see from nurses in the audience, you can see that that's pretty realistic. It actually feels, and so we've got the tubing that goes through, it comes out with the wheat bix and choppy sauce, and it's pretty damn real. Here is one of our legs with our venous ulcer, our hands. And you can see here, these are our played up versions, so these are the wearable female hands. And if you can imagine the procedures that we can do with students in zones that are potentially ungoable for many students until they develop the confidence. So what is this whole thing about? It's not just about putting on some silicone props. There is a whole process that goes with it. The ideas are created, I draw up the ideas, and then I Skype with my creator and we build them. And we're building some pretty amazing things at the moment. It's good fun. The development, then the creation, very long process in creating. Each mask takes a very long time. Just one eyebrow can take, 8 hours to put one eyebrow on. It's a time-consuming process. But there are core elements to this technique. And the technique is about the character. The character is central to it. This is how it works. The design and the development is so important. The educator is hidden behind the props. The educator is the expert, and they can navigate those learning opportunities for students. They know when to stop. People say, has it ever gone belly up? I say, no, because I'll stop it way before the event. It will guide students, and whilst you probably saw a character who was a little bit tough, in most situations, the first time these characters meet students are on day one, and they'll just come and say, hello, I'm Stanley Selby, and I'm going to be here for the whole of your 3 years, and I can't wait, and I'm so excited. Next week, we have graduation. Guess who's the guest speaker at graduation? He's got a suit, he's got a tie, he's got his hat, and he will be going there. And this has happened year after year since I've created it. I don't ask to go, the students call them. Their grandparents are there, their grandmothers are there. When the badging ceremonies occur, they don't want photos, and then they want photos. The simulation is purposeful, it is short and sharp. The character and the learners are always respected, and there is a message. And for that last speaker, I just love what you had to say. It is about empowering students. It is about regard. It is about believing in students. These characters don't want to see students fail. If I create aggressive characters who try to tell them to do everything this way, and this way, or become aggressive, the learners will block. So it doesn't matter what happens, the mistakes they made, the characters are always on the student side. Lecturer side, not necessarily. When they're out there in industry, registered nurses side, not necessarily. An interplay occurs between the learner, the character, and the expert controlling and navigating it. You never work with scripts. If somebody said to me, what are you going to say here? So I don't know, it'll just happen. And it just does. You've always got core objectives. You know what your learning outcomes need to be. But the way you navigate it is up to you. And a framework is followed. And this is what we call our Mask Ed. So it's masking preparation, which is a 2-day workshop. We've developed up some resources so that it can be transferred and applied in other disciplines, of which it is now happening. When we look at the assessing of readiness, I'll go through each of those: simulation in action, know-how in action, evaluation in action, repeat that until the students have got it, and then there is the debrief that occurs. So the masking preparation is about understanding the pedagogy, the donning of the props and the challenges of donning the props, building the character, and people say, oh yeah, I couldn't do that. Only actors could do that. Let me tell you, for the workshops that I've run, the actors are actually the worst. Because they're over the top. And you don't want them. I don't want to go anywhere near you because you are so out there. But the ones that are the best are the people who are often just themselves. They put on the props. I say, now go to the bathroom. They go to the bathroom, they come back, and then they start to adopt the cadence or whoever they are. Their gentle voices start to come through, and I want to interact with them. So it's building the characters and playing the characters. Then we look at, where does this fit in your curriculum? And it doesn't matter what curriculum you've got or what discipline. These characters can fit across boards, across disciplines. So when, where, why and what. And that's where we need to map it. And as with any simulation, unless you are integrating it into your curriculum, if you are just having it ad hoc, it is meaningless. So you need to build it and give it meaning. The inaction is about the simulation in action, me knowing which way to go and evaluating that action afterwards. And then, of course, the D-roll, the D-mask, and the discussion and the briefing. So people have said to me, yeah, but now you've been in it and you've taken your mask off, it won't have the same level of impact. All right? Just you wait and see. Henrietta?
Oh, listen, darling, where's me hat and gloves? Don't be bugging me, I know where they are. How did I get back here?
There you go, Stanley. Here's your glasses.
Oh, darling,
Nice to
it's
see
you
you
back
again.
again. You've still got your shoes on and you've still got your wings on. Did you forget?
I did forget.
I
Yes,
like
this,
it.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, can you put me glasses on?
Yeah.
Hang on, are they clean?
They are clean, yes.
No, they're not. They're dirty. Can you give them a clean? Because you know what? Dirty glasses give you more wish for fog. And my darling wife, she fogged, and that's what. And I tell you, the 5 B's, don't forget them. The buzzer in reach, the belongings in reach, the bed bowls are down, the weights are on, and I'll be buggered if I forget the last one. I always. Now, can you put me glasses on?
Have you got something to
I
clean
just
with?
give him a bit of spit, love. Oh, you look at that. You shouldn't use your uniform.
I'm just putting your glasses
Oh,
on.
now I can see you lovely thing. You were here yesterday looking after me, weren't you?
Not yesterday.
Was it today?
Today, yeah.
I like you very much. Thank you,
That's
darling.
all right. Do you want your hat on?
Yes, it's cold here, eh?
It is, yeah.
Thank you with all the... Oh, that's all I've got, but I'll be back and I better get off.
So, did you reconnect? Yes. I've only got 5 minutes, so let's move. So here is an example of it working in the classroom. There is a hidden miracle of this technique. It is about embodiment. It's about social territory, giving students permission to go into zones that they otherwise don't. It's about the untouchable. It's about sexual behaviour during body care, and it's the truly awful stuff that students have to deal with. That you can teach them. And for the person who's at the other end, imagine the vulnerability. So I made a poem up about the importance of this. There's only so from bits and bumps from pubic hair to vomit and test urine with a pungent smell and dress wounds that ooze and excessively swell. We touch teeth that are stuck and hard to pull out and toes all swollen with terrible gout. So how is it we teach the student to touch, wipe the anus of the patient who is suffering so much? Where is the recipe to guide their way and do what we see as part of our day? We are unique in the way we touch and embrace and empathise for the patient who feels the disgrace. Passing the art on is a challenge that we must see, for computers and mannequins fall far from the tree. It is feelings in words and stories to tell and human responses that say all is not well. We must create situations that enable students to feel and allow them to empathise and to really unpeel. So let us think, stop and look and reflect on this art and think of creative ways to truly impart. Don't take it for granted and let it be lost, for it is the patient who will pay the very real cost. So the unmasked educator, just as you saw here, is also a really important part of this technique. Not always required, but when you do have them, skilling them up in terms of showcasing that professional care that you want them to do. But it is also about the power of storytelling that can happen in any parts of our teaching. Through the story, the expert lived experience comes through. They can go on to the untouchable, they can grab the teachable moments, they can prepare them for reality, and they can start talking about valuing the undervalued. Here is one of our masked ed characters in a simulation scenario in the hospitals, and he's a great character. It is also vulnerability, the connection, students' feeling, the communication and the empathy. The characters are introduced to students in Year 1. I introduce them on their Moodle sites, and the funny thing on Moodle sites, if they're not in class, the camera comes right up and Stanley's saying, "Hello, I can see you in your lounge rooms out there." And it's really quite funny because the whole families get involved with these characters. Their histories are rich, realistic and valid. They're basic, so scaffolding through the curriculum, so we go from basic to complex. The relationships are warm, friendly, they build confidence, and the characters are vulnerable. Here are some of the characters. That Raymond Befield, and he has a significant speech impediment and he's powerful for students. Then you've got Cyril Smith, but I don't think they've got time to meet him unless they give us an extra 5 minutes. And then you've got Kerry and Bob. We use them in lab sessions, we use them in classrooms. We use them in lectures, we use them on their Moodle sites, we build DVDs around this, and we create assignments around this. So we do a 5-minute scenario, and then we have the assignment based around that scenario. It is real for students. Does it work? Anecdotally, yes. Course evaluations, yes. The Likert scale that I am seeing with my course evaluations is quite profound. In fact, it can sometimes be a bit embarrassing. It leads me to have been the recipient of 2 more Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Awards, Faculty Awards, just from students' evaluations. It's not me saying I deserve this. These are students' responses. The success rate in the course has been profound. 97% success rate. Because you're looking at different ways. People say, yeah, but is it because your assignments are too easy? No, the panel has reviewed those assignments. The panel has reviewed the exams. What is it that is telling me about what the students retain? It's recognition from peers and certainly what is happening now in terms of the awards, but also the uptake in other universities. And for some of you who are aware of the Francis report from the UK are taking this on next July to be implemented in some of their sandstone universities as well. So what does the research say? Heaps. So we've done several research projects. In a nutshell, the findings from students is that the power of the teacher coming through, the character and the vulnerability of the character, but the impact the character has on them. The learner and what is happening for them, and the learning that is actually in the process, the strength of them, teaching beyond the textbooks, things that aren't written down, things that challenge them, that reflect on way afterwards. We've looked at this in other courses as well, medical imaging and sonography, similar sorts of finding, and our masked ed educators who have been using this for greater than 12 months, we've now done a pilot on those, and the results of those have been quite astounding. So I won't go into it too much because of time, but the challenges are copycats. People think, oh, just put silicon faith on, and that will be it. It is very much around a pedagogy and the ethics, and when this can go terribly wrong if people don't understand the principles behind what it is that we're doing. It's been 8 years in the making, and certainly the people that have come to the workshop say, oh my goodness, I had no idea of the depth of this. It is about respect of the character, that not everybody does respect, and how things can go wrong. The actual masking, understanding the pedagogy, the importance of debriefing, which some people forget to do, the ethics, the spontaneous dialogue, you've got to be quick on your feet, and capturing teaching moments. But what are the rewards? Engaging. Fun. I giggle sometimes. How powerful it is. Only last week a student says to me in my ear, Cyril, are you circumcised? I've never seen a penis before. I said, that's all right, darling. Yes, I had mine chopped off when I was a boy. But that fella over there, Stanley, well, he's got one eye, but I think I don't know whether he has. You better go and ask him. So we have got some circumcised and uncircumcised. Beyond the textbook, the important messages, really caring. Characters are a part of students' journey. Capturing the teachable moments and reduced preparation. So where to from here, who knows? But there's a bit missing. I'm a paediatric nurse. All of this works for adults, but what about the little people? So I came up with another idea. And so we have puppets, and this is called Puppet. Puppet is simply P-U-P-E-D, puppet preparation, understanding the learner, play in action, evaluation, and debrief. And this is Lulu. Do you want to say hello? Okay, you haven't got much time, they're running out of time. You want to say, all right, say hello. These are all teachers, yes. What do they teach? They teach everything. Do you want them to know what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? No, don't stare. Lulu, back, Lulu. No, not Lulu, not now. We spoke about this before. You've got diabetes, I know. Where do you have your insulin? In your tummy. How many times? 3 times a day. You're getting good with your pen now, aren't you? And what do we do before we... Lulu, back. What do we do before we have the insulin? You count your carbs, and you're getting really good at that. You've got a sore leg? Yes, I know. There's your sore leg too. So, essentially what happens with these little people is it's a technique where the puppet is worn by a wearer who is an informed professional. We use 2 types of puppets, procedural puppets and character puppets. The little puppet turns into a person with a story or a history that's relevant to the learning experience, and the little person then serves as the platform for communication, play, and teaching. Again, a pedagogy has to be behind everything we do, so there is the pedagogy, and I've created little books that go with these guys as well. So we use those 2 types of puppets. We use silent and we use a voice. When we're using silent is when we've got more than one user actually using the puppets. And that way they don't feel like they have to create a voice. If it's just a one user all the time, then they may have a voice. We use them in teaching. Foundations, beginning nursing courses. Again, these students get not only a dress-up box, but puppets. My goodness, after week 3, these puppets are treated like real little children. I can use the mannequins, I can simulate paediatrics, but these little people, they connect with. It's about suspending students in disbelief. I use them for sex education, human relationships. So I've got 2 little puppets undergoing puberty. Oh my goodness. The questions that these kids ask that previously they have never asked. They're not asking me as the educator, they're asking the puppet. But the puppet gives the responses through whispering who someone is informed and can give them accurate information. It's about distraction therapy. How many times we've picked the nose and we've been able to cannulate a kid on the other side. Supporting children emotionally and fun. So here's one of our little children who just loves the puppets. He's been a challenge, this little boy, always having trouble when we call a port. We allow him to do the procedure on the puppet, and suddenly he is in control. We have a research grant going in our paediatric unit with these, which I won't go through it, but we've got Tom Searl there, little Florrie Nightingale, we've got Hattie Havanov and Frankie Stein, because he's the ugliest puppet. So, the challenging aspects of this technique, again, are about infection control, the confidence of people using it, and time. So with that, I thought of another venture. And that is creating silicone puppets that are real realistic, user-controlled, procedural-based, so that students, our nursing students, can learn from these little people. We can take them out into industry, and there's no more infection control issues. So what have I created? Our very first silicon puppet is being built at the moment. He will cry. He will have a runny nose. He will have a beautiful face. He will have a tracheostomy. He will have a port. He will have a genitalia. He will have a tummy that people can inject to. And here is our very first mould of his face. So he has just been created. So that's our first clay up. And this came from my privilege of winning the one of the Australian Teaching Awards last year, which gave me enough money to mould this up. And we will now create Indigenous little people, we will create puppets with cerebral palsy, we will create all different little people that, again, come from the idea of dare to be different. These are simple ideas that have gone nuts. But if I had $1 for everybody that said to me, you're a loop, yeah, I'm a loop. If somebody said to me it'll never work, well, why would you do that? You should be focusing on the academic rigour of university. If somebody said to me, it is time you got out of the classroom, you're a professor, for goodness sake, you shouldn't be in a classroom with first years. I say your best teachers should be in first year. Your best teachers should be engaging and dare to think differently. And because we are in the space of creativity, because that's what you are as teachers, it is time we all stood on a box, jumped off it, and looked at things differently. Death by PowerPoint is real. If we think we can create computer programs that are so stimulating for our university students, when half the time I think, how do I turn this thing on? They've been playing with computers since they were 3 years of age, many of them. So my message to all of you, have a go. Thank you very, very much.
I know we're probably a little bit, but I'm sure there's a couple of questions from the floor for Kerry.
Is that leg? Would you like to see Searl just for Can we show you them, Searl? Whether you want to or not.
Oh, well, darling, I don't think I know you.
Hello, Searl.
Yes, I'm Searl Smith, my name, butcher by trade. I'm marvellous at the anatomy and physiology because I particularly like pigs. Yes, and they're very like humans, hey?
Absolutely.
Yes, I go to the nursing school with Kerry as well. And my granddaughter is a nurse. Yes, my wife died as a result of a medication error. So I'm forever telling students about the 6 rights of the medication. That's good, isn't it?
It is good, yes.
I'll be bugging how I got these clothes on, because they're not mine, they're Stanley Selby's. And I plug his stuff. I've got a friend back there at the university, her name's Muriel Warmer, and she plugs my slippers. Another day I had her purple fluffy ones in on the classroom. Yes. Anyway, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity of just having a little chat.
Thank you. So I have to say, standing here next to Searl, with his eyes moving, his lips, it's so real. It's really hard to believe that this is a mask. It's really difficult.
Would you like to give me a little kiss?
I think that's a question.
How do you get on going through Border Patrol? You must have some interesting questions.
I've had some very interesting questions. I have been stopped by security on many occasions. In fact, coming to conferences, I can be outside a conference and I'll share one quick story. I was at a Queensland conference, Nurse Leaders Conference, and the Chief Nurse of Queensland was there, and she's, you know, fairly high up in the ranks, if you like. So I'm standing outside the conference. I was ready to talk on my PhD, which medication safety, which was where Searl was born. So I'm standing outside, everybody's in the room waiting for the speaker. And I'm outside and she comes up and she says, "Excuse me, sir, you're not supposed to be here." I said, "Yes, I'm getting in there to do a talk." She said, "You can't go in and do a talk there. There's a Kerry Reid Searl. I don't give a bugger about that." She says, I said, "Anyway, who are you?" She said, "I'm Pauline Ross." I said, "Are you important?" She said, "I'm the chief nurse." I said, "Well, I'll be buggered. I've never met a chief before. Come here, darling, give us a kiss." And walked on through. And as I walked in, the people were waiting up there who were co-presenting with me. They said, "Searl, where have you been?" I said, "Some old boiler out there."
But on a serious note, though, if this type of teaching is making better nursing staff, I'm all for it, because, you know, I've got parents in their 90s in a caring home. You know, they've lost physical and mental attributes, but what they haven't lost is their pride. Yes. And that's what they really struggle with the personal contact of other people.
It was up my spine. This is so much what this is about. Respect, regard, dignity, and hearing the patient's story.
Do you know what anybody doing this for doctors?
Interesting, just starting to. I've pulled up a few medical students with this technique, let me tell you. So I go into these group of second year, third year medical students, and they're all sitting at a panel. And they're at a conference for doctors, and I came in with my pajamas on. And I said, "Now listen, which one of you buggers have just come off the ward? Because you've fiddled with my bloody tablets. I did not one of you talk to me. You all gibbered away at the end of the bedside. Nobody asked me about anything. Oh, jeez. Oh, I got to sit." I said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "I don't know. Oh, I think I've got me toothache and I'll be buggered. I think I swallowed something the wrong way last night. I got a bit of digestion." I said, "Well, have you had your teeth checked?" "I don't want me bloody teeth checked. Oh, I'm not feeling real good." I said, "Well, what sort of indigestion have you got?" "I don't know, you give me the bloody tablets." Anyway, they were kept going and going. Not one of them picked up that I was having some cardiac issues. And I just went, "Oh my God." I said, "Which one of you did fiddle with my tablets? And don't forget me, I'm the patient in this story. And what were you missing in this assessment?" So yeah, communication. There was a question.
Do you use it for mental health?
Yes.
No.
However, in this technique, I would never play a mental health person, because part of this technique is only playing the character that you are skilled at and can be vocal about. So, for example, silly enough, I ended up with an Indigenous mask. And someone said to me, "Play an Indigenous patient." And I've lived for many years in the Torres Strait and Indigenous communities. And I put it on and it ripped. The very first time I put it on, I thought, there's the message. It's true to my meaning. So yes, we are training people up who use it in the capacity of mental health. So we run workshops now. Well, they started at 4 times a year. They've now escalated to X number a year. And we only have 6 to 8 people at a workshop in those sessions where we really get them to build. And we're seeing more mental health nurses using it as well. But not just nurses, physio, OT, social work, psychology, all disciplines.
One more question, I think, and then he's closed.
Right. Yeah, what do you think of this lady bringing in these mannequins that we are almost always forcing to buy for $40,000-$50,000 each?
Well, Labia are my good mates. So they actually really push what I do as well. Because there's room for every space of simulation. 3Gs and some of the high-level mannequins are great for certain things. But what we're actually doing is a thing also called hybrid simulation. So I can go in as a character and suddenly have it. And so I'll give you an example. Went in the other week, had some chest pain with the paramedic students. And the nursing students trailed in behind. It was quite funny. I'm walking down the corridor. Students are in pharmacology session. They could hear Searl's steps coming down the corridor and they yelling out, Cyril, Cyril. I said, yes, I've got to go down here to the paramedic students. They want me to go down there for a minute. I said, you can come and watch if you like, because I think I'm going to have a heart attack. They came in behind, and the paramedic students were there. I said, I've got this, and I've got pain here. And so they started to assess me, and then I collapsed. They immediately then went over to the 3G and started working on the 3G. But stupidly enough, they announced Cyril's time of death. The nursing students at the back here said, you can't kill him! So they came down and they started resuscitating. And suddenly I rose from the dead on the outside of the door. And I said, oh, boy, I think I swallowed a chicken bone, but I'm feeling a lot better now. So therein lies in preparation for simulation, which an event which wasn't done very well, but it was quite funny. So that gives you an idea of the combination. So every simulation modality has its value.
Well, Kerry, I think you've really ended the day on an inspirational note, and certainly I'm sure there'll be lots of chat over dinner tonight about some of the characters you played, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm sure other people can take away some of the lessons. So I'd just like to call Sally up to say thank you very much.
And if anybody is interested in talking to me or contacting me, I do have my card here, so I'll leave you with a pile of cards if anybody wants to contact me.
So thank you again, Kerry.